gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Fuente and Meerapfel present Meet the Professor. Hello, world.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. It's great to have one of the greatest trumpet players of all time.
Professor, this is not one of the greatest. This is the greatest trumpet player of all time. He has more Grammy Awards than anybody could mention. He's a friend of the family. He's a gentleman. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Arturo Sandoval. Arturo!
How are you guys? How you doing?
All good, all good.
I'm so happy to be with you. This is my honor and privilege, you know. Fuente for me is more than family. Sometimes we don't have the same last name, but we are very, very close family, you know, at heart. Not by name, but at heart.
Absolutely.
You know, anything related to Fuente and all in, 100%.
Melanie, your Papo needs the link. I don't know what happened. Send it, please.
And he's right there.
Oh, there he is. Carlito. Where's Carlito?
No, I tell you what happened. I got so many darn links that Melanie has sent me. I've been connecting to every other podcast, but the right one. I must have about 40 links.
Oh, no.
Papo,
Mira, Papo.
Papo, quítate la cama esa de abajo, ponla de arriba para abajo, porque no, eso no es bueno para nosotros.
Yo ya lo sé, lo voy a hacer ahora.
Mira, pon el teléfono más para arriba. Ahora sí.
Oh, there you go. Now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
That's better.
Anyway, today is a privilege to have Arturo with us. And like he said, he's very close to the Fuente family. It's been a very long mutual friendship with Don Carlos, Cynthia, Liana, the whole family. I mean, to us, it's a pleasure and honor to have Arturo with us today. And we're going to start off asking you some questions, Arturo. You could take the fifth on some of them, so it's not, we're very respectful here. So anyway, the first thing I would like to ask you, as at a young age, what was the first inclination towards what instrument when you started off?
You know, I started my little village. That was like a kind of a little marching band, and they put together there, you know, and with kids of the village, and they gave us several, you know, different instruments to try, and I was trying several ones, but later on, I started to look to the trumpet with the corner of my eyes, and I said, wow, I think that's the one I really like it, and that's what happened, you know. The rest is, I lost count already how many years, you know, how many years I've been playing. I started playing music in 1961, which is mean next year gonna be 60 years. 60 years. But 3 years later, when I was 14, I tried my first cigar.
Wow.
I don't want to remember that because I get so dizzy, man. I felt terrible. And but that was the first one. And then I never stopped. That means 56 years I've been smoking cigar every day of my life, every day. And I never stopped blowing too, which is mean, I think, the cigar is not bad for the breathing either. For example, I never try cigarettes. I cannot smoke cigarettes. Cigarettes, I tried in my life, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And I really felt like that cut my breathing, you know, right? That affect my breathing. And but with cigar, also I get up in the morning, very early in the morning. I never got that kind of thing that I hear the cigarette smoker. that happened in the morning. No, I can sing an opera in the morning. Papo del Humo.
Arturo, I've done a lot of research, even though I followed you, and like I told you earlier, I saw you in Santiago. That was many years ago at the university, Madre Maestra. You did a amazing concert.
Santiago
Yes,
de los Caballeros.
Santiago de los Caballeros. There's only 29 now because there's 30, but I'm here. So
Santiago de los Caballeros, Dominican Republic. You have to specify that because it's a few different Santiagos.
Santiago de Cuba, Santiago de Chile, Santiago de Compostela.
Santiago de Compostela, que no es lo mismo que Compostela como puede con Santiago. Papo, where's your cigar?
Right here, Papo.
¿Qué pasa? What's going on?
Right here, ready to light up.
Yeah, I like this one this morning as it's by, almost to the end, but no, I stop when I start burning my finger.
Arturo, we've read and I've seen documents that you've talked about. You had a great influence by Charlie Parker and Clifford Brown, and of course, Dizzy Gillespie. So when you met Dizzy in Havana for the first time, how did you feel? How memorable was that?
I always considered that like it was like a kind of a gift to me from God, because when you have the opportunity to meet your own hero, the person you admire and respect so much, and you have that opportunity, and furthermore, you have the opportunity to become a close friend of your own hero. It's such a privilege, man. It's something beyond my words could describe, because after that, right away, he became my mentor. Not only my hero, he became my mentor. And he helped me a lot with a lot of opportunities for so many years. But I'm going to share with you something which is very important to mention. We met in May 77 in Cuba. After that, I went to the harbor because he came there in the cruise. He was doing a jazz cruise over the Caribbean. And then they stopped there for 48 hours. I met him in the harbor, and I drove him all over the city for the very first time because he never went to Cuba before. That was the very first time. And then I showed him the city, and then later on, by the way, I never told him that I was a musician. I was embarrassed to say I was a musician and I was a trumpet player. In front of him, I never said that. Okay, and then later on at nighttime, we got like a jam session. We played for them because it was another group of great jazz musicians, Stan Getz, Father Hine, a group of great musicians. And when he came back to that place, when he came to that place, I was warming up with the trumpet backstage. And then he opened the eyes like this and he said, "What the hell my driver is doing with the trumpet?" And then somebody said, "No, he's a trumpet player." He said, "Hell no, he's my driver." That was funny. And then we played together afterwards. But he to tell you the long story a little shorter, he come back to New York and start to talk to everybody nonstop about those musicians that he met in Cuba and so on and so on and so on. One day we were in Cuba with doing a rehearsal with our band, and a gentleman came, sit down there, and he watched the whole rehearsal. We noticed that he was from somewhere else. He looked like an American person. Okay, and then in the end of the rehearsal, he came to us. I said, "I would like to introduce myself. I am the president of CBS Records." He happens to be the Bruce Lundwall. He was the president of CBS Records for many years. And then he said, I'm here because I want to hear those musicians that Dizzy Gillespie were talking about nonstop. And he said, he was right. He was right. And then, to tell you a little long story shorter, a few months later, probably 2-3 months later, CBS signed a contract with the Cuban government to sign our band for 3 years as a recording artist for CBS. And then they put us on the plane and flew us to New York. We landed in LaGuardia, and then in mid-afternoon, they put us on the bus and they drove us straight to the Carnegie Hall to do a sound check for that show tonight, which is mean the very first day in the US ever, we play at Carnegie Hall. And then we were with the company for 3 years. We did several albums, but that first big chance, it was all about Dizzy, you know, because he was responsible for the whole thing. After that, I was so lucky I started playing with him until he passed away in January 6, 93. But so many experiences, so many moments that we lived together, and I learned so much from him, you know, in every way, not only as a musician, because he was more than anything, he was a big time music lover, you know, he loved music. That's the biggest lesson I learned from him, his passion, his dedication, by his love for music, which is really was a kind of contagious, you know. He always have time to share with you things, to teach you something. He always called me to the piano and say, hey, listen to this. Yeah. I learned so many things from him, you know. And as I tell you before, it was like a gift from God to become a good friend of my own hero.
It's amazing. Wow. I mean.
You know, I have to interrupt. Because I'm listening to Arturo, and, you know, I feel like I'm living his life also, because my hero and somebody who means the world to me, to have become a friend of mine, I think that I have a lot of similarities with Arturo, because my hero is a dear friend of mine. His name is Arturo Sandoval. And it's a huge honor. It really is. I get emotional listening to Arturo speak about Dizzy and all that. But I have a question, Professor, if you allow me.
I'm sorry.
But of course.
No, I'm sorry. I cannot let you go. No. Your biggest hero live in your house. That was your dad. That was your biggest hero. Come on.
Let me, my biggest living hero. Let me just say it that way. Of course, my father will always be my hero, as your father is yours, Arturo. But I have a question, and I know that you know, that's the professor's responsibility to come up with the questions.
Not me. I allow you a couple.
This is democracy. We're open.
No, this is free for all. This is a family. Interrupt, whatever it is, hit the table, whatever it is you want. You get the questions out. But Arturo, I have a big curiosity. One of my favorite movies, For Love or Country, which Andy Garcia played your life story. And I saw that, man, and I keep going back and watching it and everything. And I see how you waited. You were there just, luckily, Dizzy Gillespie got inside your car. And I'm just asking, you know, it looked really, really nice, that car. Was that DuPont paint or Sherwin-Williams? What kind of paint did you use that time? Because that's something I'm always curious to ask.
By the way,
that car.
Yeah, let me tell you something. The car they show in the movie, that was the wrong car, because that was an Excel. I think Excel was made by Ford.
Ford, yes, correct. My father had one. Yes.
It was an Excel 1960. Wrong car. They couldn't find the car that the real one that I mentioned them several times. It was a Plymouth 1951. That was the one I was driving at that time. That was my very first car. It was falling apart. And my father and me painted with a tar diluted in gasoline. We mixed gasoline with tar and we painted with the brush. That car looks horrible, horrible. I was falling apart, you know, and the passenger door didn't open. It doesn't open. And then this you have to get through the driver door and then he sit in the car and he said, "What kind of car is this? This is a Russian car?" He said, no, you know, we got a translator, by the way, because that time I couldn't speak any English at all, zero, nothing. And I said, no, it's a Plymouth, 1951. And he said, Plymouth. He said, man, this car smells funny. Smell like gasoline or something. I said, and I explained to him, no, we painted with gasoline and tar, you know. And he said, oh, tar. You're supposed to put the car on the road, not the road on the car.
That's a classic. Yeah.
And then listen to that. The first thing he asked me, which is not funny, he asked me about to drive him to a street or a kind of a monument or something dedicated to Chano Pozo, because Chano Pozo was a Cuban percussionist that they met in 1946, and they start playing together. Unfortunately, they played for 1 year. After that, Chano get in trouble in Harlem, in New York, and somebody killed him. He lived in the U.S. only 1 year, but they wrote a bunch of pieces together, you know, and a lot of composition of Chanos that DC arranged and you know, and add some things but they created an incredible close connection, you know, and they became close friends and collaborators and all those kind of things. Okay, but when I told him, I'm sorry, Mr. Gillespie, no, it's not a status or any street or anything here dedicated to Chano Pozo. And then, by the way, I said, not even a few people, I mean, just a very, very few people know about who Chano Pozo was. He changed his face, man. He came a kind of sad and angry at the same time. He said, how come they don't have anything here dedicated to him? I said, we're sorry, because he moved to the U.S. and as soon as you move to the U.S., that's it. They put you in the blacklist, and then you're not allowed. Nobody's allowed to show you photos of you or videos or mention your name or write your name in any publication or whatever. This is a matter of, you know, the system, the dictatorship that we're suffering for 61 years in the island, which is terrible, but let's move on. And then he was very sad about, he really was very sad about. But, you know, I start to play with him, and sometimes, but let me tell you something which really was very remarkable for me. Sometimes I was home doing nothing, you know, because we spent so many years in Cuba literally wasting our time, you know, wasting our time. And then the phone rang, and I was a promoter from some festival and somewhere, you know. Say, Mr. Sandoval, yeah, I'm a promoter and organizer a festival in X country. And we are hiring Mr. Gillespie to come and play in our festival. But he made a request. He said he will come if we hire your band to come and back him up. I say, oh, of course, yeah, we are available and affordable. And that happened several times, man. And that means so much to me, because when we get together, I said, this, man, why you did that? I said, man, I knew that you need some job and you need some exposure, and that's at least what I should do, you know, help you to get some gigs, you know. And he really keep me in mind some, you know, all the time, and gave me some. When he put together a big band that he called a United Nations band, he also offered me to play the first trumpet in that band, and I was there until he passed away.
Ah.
You have a question?
Well, now that you mention it, Arturo, let's give space to Melanie on Melanie's hotspot. Melanie.
All right, let's put you in the hot spot. And since you're an open book, we could ask anything. So, Arturo, what's the most embarrassing moment?
Okay. Oh, that many of them. But this one is one of the funny one. I was in Paris playing in a small jazz club. By the way, it was a very eccentric place because it was like exactly 2 blocks from Notre Dame, the big cathedral, you know. I was playing in a jazz club. I got a very dear friend, which is one of my favorite musicians ever, Michel Legrand. Rest in peace. You know, he died like a year ago. Michel Legrand, he came to the club once in a while to jam, you know, and we have a great time. Okay, one of these days he came and he said, Arturo, what are you doing tomorrow, every evening? I said, no, and it's okay. I have to be here in the club at 9. No, I'm talking about like 5 or something. It's gonna be the premiere. Listen to that because this is funny. It's gonna be a premiere of the movie that I wrote the score in the Champs-Élysées. You know, one of the big theater in Champs-Élysées, like a Chinese theater here in Hollywood. You know, they got that kind of place in Paris. And I said, yes. He said, hey, you have to wear a suit and tie. Okay, no problem. Okay, I went there with him. I was playing 3 sets a night in that club. I finished very, very late at night. I barely sleep, you know. During the day, I was so sleepy every day, you know. And then we went to the premiere. That happened. That was Michel Piccoli was one of the main actors, and as well, Catherine Deneuve. Catherine Deneuve, famous, beautiful French actress. Okay, all the people, the director, all the actors and everything was in the same row. I was sitting here by Michel Legrand and everybody was there, you know. The movie started. The movie was a kind of a little drama, a melodrama story, some little love or something, but very slow. I'm watching, it was in French with no subtitle. I couldn't understand anything. Oh my goodness. And then not in the middle, but by almost the beginning of the movie, I start. Oh my goodness. Until finally I closed my eyes completely and I start snoring very loud. One of my snore wake me up, you know, and then I look to the right, the whole row was like this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I didn't know what to do, what to say, whatever. The only thing I wanted that the ground open and eat me,
swallow you.
Oh, swallow me. Oh my goodness. That was embarrassing, you know.
That's a great story, though. That is a classic.
Oh, it's great now, but at that moment it was horrible. I felt so embarrassing, you know.
Arturo, you get your first nomination for a Grammy.
Yeah.
Or when you won your first, how did it feel? What went through your head that moment? Through all the things you've been through to get out of Cuba and everything, and all of a sudden you win a Grammy. How was that moment for you?
No, it wasn't like that. I came to the U.S. in the end of '89, and the first Grammy was June '78.
Okay.
But let me tell you this story. That was with the band I was playing called Irakere in Cuba.
Okay.
And that was the first Grammy, 1978. By the way, that was that Grammy was about a live recording we did that first night at Carnegie Hall.
Wow.
In '78. That was the first Grammy. But because we live in Cuba and we weren't allowed to come back to the US to get the Grammy and so on, I never get that Grammy because they send it to the Cuban government, and I never see it.
Oh,
Later on in the probably 90 something, I sent a letter to the Grammys. I said, I explained to them, and then they sent me a copy, and I have it at home now. But from '78 to '94 or something, all those years, I never saw that Grammy.
wow.
Let me ask you this. Can you tell us a little bit how you and El Papo del Humo met at the beginning and all that? I want to hear about that because Carlitos never told me that. I don't know if he told Jeremiah, but he hasn't told me.
I remember, Carlito, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was when they opened that new store. They had it was like a cigar store and a little lounge or something in Santo Domingo. A guy who organized that place and owned that place also have like a little magazine. No, they call it El Cigarro or algo así.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Andres,
yeah. Andres, yeah, he invited me to that event, and also he do the photo section with me, and he put me in the cover of one of that magazine. That's the only time in my life I've been in the cover of a magazine ever. Okay, and then I went there. Carlito was there. I swear to God, that was, oh my goodness, that was probably 30 years ago. And I didn't have any idea. I never smoked any Fuente. I didn't have any idea who Carlito were. And then somebody gave me a cigar, and I was trying the cigar, and I didn't like it. I said, man, this is so, I don't know. At that time, I still smoking Cuban cigar. I have to tell you the very truth. I was smoking for years the Lanceros, Davidoff, the Davidoff Lanceros, which is made in Cuba. It used to be a good cigar. And that's what I was smoking. You know, I used to that kind of thing. Okay, and I tried that cigar that somebody gave me in that store that night. And it was a kind of, I don't know, it didn't have enough flavor to me. Later on, I think Carlito came to me, and we finally met, and then he asked me about the cigar. How you like that cigar? I said, I don't like it at all. And later on, I find out that was one of his cigars. And I say, oh my goodness, I screw up big time. And now this guy gonna hate me. But later on, I don't know if I'm wrong or no, but Carlito can correct and say the whole process. But I got the feeling that after that, he started to think about what I said. He said, this guy, by the way, I should tell you something before. I was born and raised and grew up in Pinar del Rio, which is the province, the part of Cuba where they grow the tobacco. And my two grandmothers used to work in the Despalillo. You know, I don't know how to say that in English, Despalillo. Carlito, ¿cómo se dice eso?
it might not be interpreted properly. Stripping department.
Yeah.
Because the woman that was mainly women job. They put it in the tie, you know, and they take with the fingers, with the nail, they take the veins out of the sleeve. That was the main job for women.
They stripped the veins. That's why they're called
the vein. It's strip vein. Okay, my two grandmothers work in the factory, which means since I was a little kid, I was around cigars and thing, and I knew, you know. But according to later on, that thing I told Carlito that it probably was embarrassing for him, or I said because mainly I didn't know that he was the guy who made that cigar. That in certain way, I think I inspired him to create a different kind of blend with a little more flavor. And the rest is history. The last 30 years, Fuente have been making the best cigar ever. And the last probably 20 something years, I never smoked any other thing than Fuente cigar. Because every time I try something else, I say, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm sorry, but no, give me that. And when the people, they give me, when they gave me Cuban cigar, I said, I appreciate that, but I'm sorry, I don't want to smoke it. If you don't mind, give it to somebody else who really will appreciate it or something, because I don't smoke it, nothing else than Fuente, because my palate, my flavor rejected when I try anything else. I'm so sorry about the rest of the manufacturer, because I respect and love all of them. But it's a matter of I used to this already for so many years. Anything else, I cannot handle with pleasure.
I'm sure a lot of people understand.
Arturo, I've only seen you with two things by your lips: the trumpet
And
the Arturo Fuente Don Carlos. Tell us
yeah.
with the Arturo Fuente Don Carlos cigar.
I like a bunch of them. I like the Lanceros. I like very much the A5A.
Oh yeah.
I like the Hemingway. I like all of this. I love and respect very much the Opus X, but unfortunately I cannot smoke that all the time, because I smoke my first one at 6:30, 6:45 in the morning, a little coffee, and I like my first Don Carlos. If I do that with the Opus X, I'm gonna be useless for the rest of the day. I'm gonna be lightheaded, you know. But once in a while, I try the Opus after the big lunch or big dinner. I can handle that. But the Don Carlos Robusto, I handle that all day long. And I smoke 4 or 5 every day of my life, every day. And I enjoy so much every time. It's my favorite. I'm sorry, Carlito. I know that you will love when I say the Opus X, but you should be proud that your father created that thing. And Don Carlos Robusto for me is top of the line, top.
I agree, Arturo. I agree, and it's very, very interesting listening to this, and it's a good story. And I'm going to try to remember that one, because possibly if it weren't for you, Fuente Opus X would never have been blended the way it was. Maybe I wanted something that it was a little bit too dominant, or something that was really jazzed up, that would take you to dimensions that you couldn't tolerate. I remember.
Can you put that in black and white?
I'm going to tell you more, because now this is history. This is going down. This is history being recorded. I do remember that day. It was at Ciro Cachela's grand opening. My brother and everything was there. It's when I met you and your beautiful wife, Marianela, who I consider to be my sister. And the conversation started over Abe Sanchez, a dear friend of yours, whose mother worked for my grandfather and father their entire life. It started a conversation. And before you arrived, there were a lot of colleagues of mine that were there also, because that club at that time sold cigars of all the different manufacturers. And they had given me a couple of cigars. And I was embarrassed to have in my pocket, so I took the band off and I gave you that cigar. That cigar was not made by me. But
it wasn't made by you?
No.
Oh,
and I remember,
good.
no, it's okay. And I remember.
I'm safe.
Wait, oh, it's good. It's good. But I remember that we went to the back room, we all sat down, and that manufacturer gave you a cigar, and you said, this cigar don't like it. I don't like this cigar. And he was a very close friend of mine. He's a manufacturer, he's retired now. But I remember that was a beautiful night. And that was the beginning of, a lifelong relationship. But it was very, very special. So I remember we went with Cyril then, his mother, his father. We went to the old colonial city and we played the piano, and you played the piano. We had just a great evening. I got photos of that night. It was a special night. Not only is something that where our relationship started, but also how I started building a relationship with a young man who today is my right hand in the Dominican Republic. As a brother, he's very special to me, which is Cito, which, and so we owe Cito a lot. We brought a lot of people together, and we owe you. Because if it wasn't for you, I would have gone, because I wanted to meet you so bad.
Later on, we get together in a Big Smoke in Miami. That was right after. That was one of the first time I smoked probably a Ria Fuente.
And that was the Big Smoke at the Lowell's. That's correct.
In a hotel in Miami Beach,
Miami Beach, in the Lowell's Hotel.
Yeah. That was probably around 30 years ago, no?
It must have been 30 years ago, yes. Yeah.
My goodness. And we're still talking to each other, man, after 30 years. Unbelievable.
Well, that's because you live in California and I live in the Dominican Republic.
Oh my goodness.
Melanie, we have a lot of questions coming in, and there are just so many. We don't know where to start. You want to read one or two out to Arturo Sandoval?
Go ahead.
This is a great question, Arturo, for you. So, what is one of your favorite recordings of your own composing?
Oh, I got 44 album. 44.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, 44. But I'm gonna tell you, I've been listening again. Believe it or not, you're gonna say, this guy is trying to lick Carlito, Yeah, but no. I did an album by myself, everything by myself. I recorded with my sound engineer in my house, in the previous house in Hidden Hill, a few years ago. Actually, that was exactly 8 years ago. Yeah, for the 100th anniversary of the Fuente family. Oh, wow. And yes, and I'm gonna tell you, my wife has been asking me nonstop to try to recreate that kind of vibe of that album and do another one. And I swear to God, that's gonna be my next album, inspired in that album. And I've been writing a bunch of music. Carlito, I sent you a demo I did of a tribute to Orquesta Aragon, which was one of the best.
I love it. Right. That's my music. I love it. I just imagine my grandfather with his steps moving, and when I hear that music, the ballroom, I love it.
I share with you that's a demo. We didn't talk about, but this is a demo I did for the next project, which is inspired in that kind of vibe of the 100th anniversary of the Fuente family. The name of the album is 100 años de pasión, ¿no?
Un siglo de pasión.
Un siglo.
Yeah, siglo, 100 years, siglo pasión.
A century of passion.
And I just want to add that it was your 10th Grammy. Against all odds. You didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I remember I screamed. I started crying. I called your wife. I couldn't believe it because it was it was an album dedicated to 100th year of a cigar making family, and it won Grammys. It won a Grammy against some very, very difficult popular music, popular competition.
Oh, and yeah, everything was composed by me, but one song was Muñequita Linda, which was
dedicated, yes, which you did in honor of my daughter, which is my Muñequita Linda, that you played that for her 15 and everything, and
in the 15th birthday. Yeah,
that's correct.
And then the other album I would love to mention, a couple of them, just to mention a few, but another couple of them that I would love to mention as my very, very favorite is the Trumpet Revolution. It's something I did many years ago. I recorded 19 different songs of different genres of music dedicated to all the major exponents of the instrument, you know. And I really, for me, I'm so happy that I did that album, because that showed my respect, my dedication, my admiration for all the greatest trumpeters of all time. I'm talking about that thing covered almost 100 years old. 100 years of a period, you know. It started with King Oliver in 1918, and then Louis Armstrong, Biggs Beiderbecke, Rafael Mendes, Dizzy Gillespie, Clark Terry, Maynard Ferguson, oh my goodness, 19 different ones, 19, Chet Baker, and there was such a, for me, it was like a big tribute to all the major trumpet players that I was influenced by, you know, Harry James, all those great big time trumpet players. And the other one is probably the latest one I did, which is called Duets. I did 11 duets with singers, and you know, with a big star that I love very much. I started with a posthumous tribute to Celia Cruz, but also I have a Stevie Wonder, I have Al Jarreau, Frida from ABBA. Oh my goodness, you know, 11 different big stars, you know, and Pharrell Williams, Ariana Grande. Oh my goodness, I don't have
Juan Luis
Guerra, Alejandro Sanz. Thank you,
Bob. Do you prefer recording in analog or digital?
Digital, all digital, yeah. Prince Royce. Oh my goodness, so many. And you know, I've been very lucky because I got so many beautiful opportunities in my life. You know, I got a privilege. Also, I played a trumpet solo in the very last recording of Mr. Blue Eyes, the chairman of the board, Frank Sinatra, you know.
Oh.
Can you imagine this little farmer from Cuba playing in the album of Frank Sinatra? Oh my goodness. And I played in different recording of Barbra Streisand and Johnny Mathis. Oh my goodness, so many big stars that I not even could dream of when I was in my village, you know. My life has been a dream, a real dream. I swear to God, because when I was a little, by the way, I have to quit the school when I finished the 5th grade in school. No more school.
Wow.
I not even finished, you know, I had not even started junior high or any of those things, you know. I only 5th grade. That was it. And in Cuba, I learned a little bit. I went to school to get a little bit of a classical training, but I never ever have an opportunity to play any classical music in Cuba, ever. I never have a single chance ever. And I was so lucky that my first chance to play classical music with an orchestra, it was with my favorite orchestra ever, which is London Symphony. It's still, you know. And later on, I got a budget to do a classical album. Of course, I took my budget and co-producer. We flew to London and we did the album with London Symphony. And later on, Mr. John Williams wrote a trumpet concerto, and I did the very first recording of that concerto, also with London Symphony. Which is mean, you know, I didn't have any chance to play with the orchestra in Cuba, never. But then I went to London, and London Symphony invited me to play with them. And one day in Cuba, I never forget this. A trumpet teacher in the School of Music invited me to come and be like a kind of jury, because they was doing like a competition for a event in Europe, and they was trying to find the best student to send to that competition, and he invited me to be as in the jury, you know. And I went there, and a few minutes later, the people who was in charge in the school, they throw me out of there because they said, what the heck I was doing there? I didn't have a diploma of anything. I wasn't graduated of anything. I shouldn't be there. And then they throw me out. And then when I landed in Miami, the same guy with 5th grade, no diploma, no nothing, I got offer from all the major university in Florida to teach. And 3 of them, they offered me the full professorship with the tenure included. And I told them, don't ask me for any paper because I have no paper. I said, no, we didn't ask you for a paper, and we won't ask you for papers. But they offered me that job, and I was teaching there for 20 years in the Florida International University. You see how many things happen in my life, man. I have a lot of reason to get up every morning and look to the sky and say, thanks God, thank God, thank you.
Absolutely.
Not many people have a doctorate degree from the University of Notre Dame. And
extremely prestigious university in the US and in the whole world, you know, Notre Dame. Yeah, they offered me the doctorate in fine art. It's such a privilege, a huge honor. Later on, I'm going to share with you something. When I was there with my whole family and everything for the ceremony and the whole thing, I was talking to the dean of the university, and I mentioned him. I mentioned like this, you know, without you know, any other expectation. And I told, sir, you know what? It's going to be nice if we do a kind of a project together, if we do a recording, for example, of a Christmas, because it's a Catholic school, by the way. And I say, what about a Christmas album with the school and me? And he opened his eye and he said, are you serious? I said, of course. And we did it. That came out 2 years ago. And it came out beautiful. We did it with a full symphony orchestra from Notre Dame, and then the choirs, and then a choir, and then a children choir, and then we do with several different singers of the school. And the album came out very pretty, and you know, and after that, also I got a phone call from the White House, and I said, "Oh, I'm in trouble now. What I did?" And then it was a lady who worked very close to the President Obama. She offered me or asked me if I were agreed to receive an honor in the White House. And I say, of course, yes. And no, okay. I want to be sure you will attend and you will come and attend and you will accept it. I said, of course I will. Yes, my honor. Okay. At that moment, I asked her, excuse me, this is a Kennedy Center Award? Because that's one of the biggest, you know, honor in the art industry, you know, the Kennedy Center Award. And she said, no, it's something bigger than that. I said, oh. And then she said, I'm sorry, but I cannot give you any more details because the president tomorrow going to make a press conference and going to announce the whole thing. Okay, and then I found out that was a Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest award that a U.S. government could give to a civilian, because the other one is a Presidential Medal of Honor, which is for a military, you know. But for civilian, Presidential Medal of Freedom is the highest award. And man, that was 7 years ago, 2013. And it's such a huge honor as well, a huge honor, because it's another 3 jazz musicians that receive that award as well. Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, and Count Basie. And in number 4 in that list of a jazz musician that got that award is such a huge privilege and an honor for me. And I really keep that very close to my heart.
That's unbelievable. What an achievement. Incredible. Congratulations, Arturo. We have Jose Brito with us, and he has a question for you, Arturo. Jose, you are live.
Go ahead.
Jose.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody.
How you doing,
Jose?
So my question for you, I put it into the chat. It's, what artists, past, present, or future, would you have or would like to collaborate with?
Ooh, it's a lot of them. But the first one who came to my mind is one of my biggest heroes, man. 2 of them. One of them was Ella Fitzgerald, and another one, Oscar Peterson. Those 2, I would love to you know, to have a chance to do anything with them. But you know, you cannot aspire, you cannot have it all, you know. You cannot have it all. But also, you know, by the way, I should mention that my favorite composer, it was a Russian musician by the name of Sergei Rachmaninoff. I'm a huge fan of Rachmaninoff. And somebody asked me a few months ago, a year ago, somebody asked in the internet, asked me, Arturo, if you got a chance to meet one person in your life, who will be? And I mentioned that, Sergei Rachmaninoff. And a lot of people say, wow, no Louis Armstrong, or I don't know who, somebody is a man, you know, I love a lot of them. But if I have to mention one name, I say the Rachmaninoff, because I hear those piano concertos, man, and those orchestra concertos of Rachmaninoff, and it's such an incredible, beautiful music that really penetrate and reach my heart to the deepest. You know, it's a wonderful music, wonderful music.
Thank you very much, Jose. Thank you.
Tell us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jose. Arturo, tell us a little bit about Passion for Piano.
About what?
Passion for Piano.
Oh, it's an album I did many years ago, you know. I'm gonna tell you, when I was very young, that was many decades ago, I read a book. It was like a kind of a jazz history book. And one of the chapters, it happened that Miles Davis came to Dizzy Gillespie asking him for advice, for lessons, for hints, you know, the improvisation and the whole thing. And Dizzy said, okay, let's move to the piano. And Miles said, yeah, piano? What for? I play trumpet. He said, you asked me to help you with improvisation thing? We need to sit in the piano. When I read that, I said, oh, I think that's a lesson not only for Miles, it's a lesson for everyone. And that day I realized how important is the piano to be better musician in general. Doesn't matter which is your main instrument, but when you get familiar with the piano, automatically you became better musician, because you start to understand the music in general much better. And if you want to be a jazz musician, you want to learn how to improvise, if you want to do arrangement, if you want to compose, if you want to do a score for movies, all those kind of things that I have been doing for years, piano is fundamental. Piano is crucial. It's crucial. I do everything on the piano. I wrote a couple of classical trumpet concertos that I recorded. The first one I recorded was London Symphony. And the second one, unfortunately, I was about to go to the studio in the beginning of May. Yeah, the beginning of May. And then we have to postpone everything because everybody knows why. But those trumpet concertos, I wrote it on the piano. Everything. And I recorded, I did my demos at home, everything from the piano. And a passion for the piano was something I did in my house with a couple of friends, a drummer from Cuba, and also a bass player from Florida, Dennis Marr, which is an excellent bass player, and Ernesto Simpson, was the drummer. And we did that in my house. And I enjoyed very much because, you know, it is, and the name, the title of the album really said it all, because my passion for the piano has been, you know, and for the last, I don't know, 40 years, 30 years, something like that, I spent a lot more time in the piano or with the piano than with the trumpet, because the piano is my main tool to do everything, you know, to compose, to arrange, to create, to do a score for movies, all those kind of things. The piano is the tool, the tool.
Arturo, there's
Yes, sir.
a lot of people are asking. I think they're not even asking. I think they're begging. Everybody wants to see you pick up the horn or get on the piano or do something. Will you make them the honor?
Oh my goodness. Let me play a little trumpet, man. Let me play a little trumpet. Yeah.
And Mark's gonna join us.
Do you see this? It's they call this a plunger. It's similar to the same we use to, you know, to fix the toilets, but it's a tool that they've been using for so many years, you know, and it create a kind of a specific, I would say, like a kind of a sexy sound, you know, on the trumpet. Something like that.
Bravo.
Making memories. Professor, I remember when Arturo came to perform in a concert here in Santiago de los Caballeros. And I don't know what happened, but he didn't have his mute or something with the mute. And I remember Paolo, the crazy Italian restaurateur and chef, Paolo Modolo, going to the little corner grocery store to get a toilet plunger. And Arturo did the whole performance with that toilet plunger and everything. And he was nothing but standing ovation. Do you remember that? It was fantastic at the theater, at the Teatro de Cigar. Very similar.
The only thing I have here in the other end it's a thing that you can open or close. It's got a little thing here. Let me see. You see, you can close the thing or open.
Ah.
It gives different sound. When you close the thing, it's a different sound.
Well, that's for a normal trumpet player. A normal trumpet player needs that to help him with the sound. But you didn't need it that night because you do it with your natural talent. Love it.
Yeah, another question.
Arturo,
Yes,
I know this is a tough one. It's like when you compare who's better on this and that. On your personal opinion, who do you think is the greatest trumpet player of all times?
Arturo Sandoval.
To be absolutely honest, it's no one. It's no one. No, that doesn't exist. One, because I'm gonna tell you why. In the jazz field, for example, it was several. Clyde Terry, Dizzy Gillespie, Clifford Brown, Hardy James, Lee Morgan, Fats Navarro. A lot of them, Freddie Howard, a long list. And nobody can say who was better than who, And Dizzy was, of course, my favorite ever. But no one of them could play classical music, for example. And then when you say Timofey Dokchiser, it was a Russian guy, and then Maurice André from France. Those two guys and Sergei Nakaryakov and Abe Flores from Venezuela, Sergei from Russia. All those classical trumpet players, they're one of the kind. And there was a Mexican guy by the name of Rafael Mendez. He was incredible. Nobody can touch in the style he played. Nobody could touch him ever. And then you cannot say one person was the best, because always somebody could say, oh yeah, but he couldn't touch Maynard Ferguson in his own style, or Rafael Mendez, or Dizzy Gillespie, or Clifford Brown, or Timofey Dokchiser. It's a bunch of people who really got such a strong personality and an identity so strong, so that we really got that huge legacy from them, that we cannot relegate it to one person. It don't gotta be fair. It's, I say, one person, because no, for me it's impossible. I don't know if somebody else could say, no, this person, but I cannot say that.
Yeah, we have a very, very close friend to the family who's on the show tonight. His name is Marco Fanfara, and Marco has a question for you, Arturo. Marco, you're live.
Hi, Marco.
Marco from Germany. Welcome.
Where is?
Let's unmute Marco. Can you hear us?
Marco.
You have to unmute.
There you go. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure for me to be on the show. I have a question for you, Arturo. I love music. And did you ever play a concert in Germany? Or do you have plans to play a concert in Germany in the future?
The first question is I play in Germany?
Yeah.
I play in Germany probably more than any other country in the world. Wow. And I'm gonna tell you, the very first time I traveled out of Cuba, my very first concert was in Berlin.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it was in East Berlin. That was in 1972. Yeah, I think it was 72. That was my very first time I went to Germany. And later on, I came there for so many years, 1 or 2 times a year. All my life, I played in Germany so many times. all over every city you mentioned. I played there, and I'm gonna tell you even more. In my book and in my heart, I believe the best audience I'd ever got in my life, it was in Germany.
Oh,
The
wow.
people who react to my music and demonstrate the appreciation and admiration for what I was doing. I don't recall another place could match that kind of reaction. And unfortunately, I supposed to be in Germany this summer, but unfortunately, my calendar was full and now it's completely empty, which is I'm so sad and embarrassed to say, but you know, it's not my fault. Everything is canceled, unfortunately, and probably we are the most affected in that matter because we are talking about conglomeration of people. You know, we're talking about a jazz club, theaters, of festival where that, you know, included a lot of people together, and this is exactly what we are not allowed to do it. And but I hope next year we're gonna break even and come back to all those festivals and places where we're supposed to play this year.
Yes.
Let's hope so.
Marco, thank you so much. Love you, brother. Thank you very much.
Love you, Jeremiah. Thank you.
All right.
Arturo,
We have,
okay.
Go ahead, Professor.
Now, Arturo, if there's a moment in your life that you will remember for as long as you live, what would it be?
Let me put the trumpet down and let me get my cigar and sing for a moment. Okay, listen to this because that's very is deep and is very close to my heart, and it's a kind of a little sad story, but with a little happy ending in the end. But when we finally got the opportunity to leave Cuba, that was in the end of 1989. The Cuban government made a mistake and gave a very special permission to my wife and son to go to Europe and spend some time there with me. I was on tour with Dizzy Gillespie. Okay, finally, the whole story happened. It's a movie about and everything, and we get in the U.S. My wife, my son, and my son. Okay. Since I get here, my biggest preoccupation, my biggest concern was my parents, that they stay in Cuba. I want to bring them so bad, you know, to the U.S. And I start since the day one in the U.S. I start talking to as many people as I could to get a visas or get a permission or something to bring my parents to the U.S. That thing took almost 3 years. Finally, the State Department gave me the 2 visas for my parents. That was in the end of 92. Okay, I sent them the plane tickets. I sent them the visas. Everything was ready to go. The day before, they called them to an immigration and a kind of secret police to the office for a meeting. When my parents get there, by the way, my father was 71, my age now. He was 71 and my mother was 70 years old. They came there, my parents not even made the school. They was very simple people from the countryside of the island, extremely humble and simple people. And my mother got a little purse with her, and the guy who was there, a general of a secret police, whatever, and He said, "Do you have your passport with you?" My mom said, "Yeah, yeah." She opened it, she get a passport. Said, "You got the plane tickets that your son sent you?" Said, "Yes, yes, yes." He gave it to her. When he got in the hands, he turned down both passport and both tickets and throw it in the garbage. Okay, that was the beginning of a horrible nightmare for me, because that really was horrible, horrible. I couldn't believe it, such a crime, you know. And later on, of course, I did have another option to try something different, another variation, and the people stole money from me, promising me that they're gonna bring my parents somehow, this and that. Was all lie. That was, man, that took like a year of efforts for nothing. Finally, my parents got the courage and the guts to jump in the raft, and they left the island in the raft.
Wow.
With 71 and 70 years old, and they landed in the little key south of Key West, not even the main land. Yeah. They dropped in there, and my mother has 3 vertebrae broken in the because it was in January, and they were jumping up and down for hours, for many hours, and my father was full of bruises all over the body, and that was terrible. That specific day, I didn't have any idea they were about to do such a thing, you know. I was playing in Tokyo, in Japan, when my wife picked the phone and called me and said, "Hey, your parents are in Key West. They're in the U.S." That was the happiest moment of my life. I cannot compare another day with that. No, impossible. That was the happiest day.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow. My mom was 6 months in a wheelchair. She barely could move because of the vertebrae broken, you know. Later on, you know, she get okay. She was okay, and then I enjoyed them until they passed away. Unfortunately, you know, they're buried in the cemetery in Miami.
Thank you for sharing that. That's unbelievable, and it's a good lesson for everybody in life, not to take anything for granted and appreciate everything we have and everything that God can give us. There is
a good lesson for the people who love those kind of systems. You know, it's a good lesson to learn what we have to avoid all the way. Be careful. The people, you know, I think it was Winston Churchill who said something brilliant. He said, "The people who love communists and socialists and all the things are the people who read that book that was written by Karl Marx and Frederick Engels. And the people who hate communists and socialists are the people who read that book, but they understood the book."
Yeah, so funny. That's exactly.
Yeah.
Very interesting. There's a fantastic question that came in for you, Arturo, from Angel Saltos. Angel, you're live. Please ask your question.
Hello, Maestro Arturo. How are you? This is Angel, the good friend from Washington.
Angel, how are you? How you doing, my friend?
What a pleasure to see you, and what a pleasure for everybody to get to know all your career. Arturo, I am just amazed about all your professional accomplishments as a musician. But I would like, if you can take 1 minute or two and tell the world about ASI, this Arturo Sandoval Institute, which I think is a fantastic initiative that shows your philanthropic and
look my teacher. Look my teacher.
Wow. That is fantastic. Tell us a little bit about it.
I will that with pride all the time, you know. Thank you so much, Angel. Thank you. it's, you know, it's so rewarding. It's a privilege. It's an honor when you have an opportunity to help others. I didn't have that help when I was young, you know. And the institute, the thing we have been doing for the last 6-7 years, by the way, it's 100% non-profit organization. Everybody is volunteer. Is nobody in payroll, and no, that doesn't exist. And also, every penny we get from donation or concert or something, 100% was donated to kids with low-income families that need help to continue their studies in music, mainly. We have been given hundreds of instruments, private lessons, scholarships, a lot of opportunities, and also even we cover a few medical insurance for kids that really need that university and start. They need that to make the application for several schools that demand that, and we help those kids. And I really must mention that Carlito has been a big donor for our organization, and we really appreciate that very, very much. I will also would love to mention Mr. Frank Mancuso Sr., which has been also a major donor. The people from Gavinia family, the coffee maker, they're incredible family. They also have been big donators, and beside other people, you know. But it's such a noble cause, you know. It's such a privilege when you see a kid that have no hope to keep doing, you know, studying music, and we help them to continue that thing. It's, you know, when I go to bed, I put my head in my pillow. I say, thanks God for giving me this opportunity to help others.
Yeah, amen to that.
Congratulations, Arturo. Keep up the good work. Fantastic.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for bringing the AC to the...
Arturo, you have a website that we can go to donate?
Yeah, Angel, what is the website?
The website, www.asi.com.
ASI, A-S-I, Apple.
.com. Oh, good. That's easy.
Yeah. All right. So www.asi for Arturo Sandoval Institute, ASI.com. Melanie will put it online on the Fuente Meerapfel Present Meet the Professor show on Facebook, on our website. Make sure to check it out and to make your donations for this unbelievable cause. Angel, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Arturo, you have been inspiring so many people. Your talents, your love, your dedication has proven valuable to thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people around the world. You have given light to many people, including the new generation. You're one of these musicians that have been able to touch the hearts of generations throughout, from the grandparents to the parents to the grandchildren, which is not given to every musician, as you know. The power to do that is very important because it carries a message. It carries a message for the future. It carries a message which is going to be held by the future generations into the future. What lesson would you like them to carry forward for you?
Thank you very much for your kind words. I appreciate it. And but I'm gonna tell you, I would like to show you something. Well, hold on one second.
We'll hold on for a while. This is interesting.
Great, fantastic show.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Let me show you
I've gotten
something.
emotional a couple of times, but
It's very special.
Without a doubt.
Hey, this is my music stand. Can you read that?
Your talent is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift back to God.
This is my music stand.
Very nice.
Okay, and let me explain this a little bit. Some people put a lot of weight in the word talent between quotes. For me, that means nothing. I strongly believe that every person has certain kind of talent for anything, for any kind of profession or your dedication or your passion or whatever. But the crucial point and the most important thing is your passion, your love, your dedication for what you do. That made the difference, because it doesn't matter how talented you could be, probably by nature or by act of God or something, but if you don't appreciate that 100%, if you don't have the integrity, if you don't have the responsibility, if you don't have that kind of passion and dedication, and furthermore, the discipline to really develop that in the way you should, you do nothing with the talent. They're gonna bury you with that talent and you're gonna go to nowhere. For that reason, I always insist, and I strongly believe that the most important thing is your love, passion, dedication, and discipline. And also, my good advice to the youngers is stay away from drugs. Stay away from drugs and alcohol or no kind of things that could damage your brain, because art, amongst other things, is a very intellectual function, and we need a little brain 100% together to do something remarkable. Otherwise, you're not gonna go to nowhere. And if you have that strong passion, love, dedication, and discipline, you sooner or later gonna make it. Sooner or later gonna make it. Forget about the economical or the monetary success. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the big satisfaction, the big pleasure, the big honor to fill your heart with developing your profession in the extremely professional way and the very strong way, and that made different, and that thing gonna make you a happy person. Doesn't matter if you're broke money wise, but if you're happy doing what you do, the rest is optional. The rest is optional, because that thing gonna fill your heart, because that's gonna fill your soul, and you're gonna be so happy and grateful that you're doing what you love, and that cover every kind of necessity.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it, and it doesn't surprise me. The values you share with the Cigar families, with Carlito Fuente, with the Fuente family. By the way, you have the biggest hello and kisses from both Cynthia and Liana, who are watching the show, and their love.
I call them my sister and my niece.
Yeah, well, and they consider you family. But what I hear from you is precisely what we're trying to communicate and the values we're trying to share with the world. And I think we could have had no better guest today on the show than a gentleman who speaks the words of truth, the words of sincerity, the words of heart, the words of passion, of work, of values, of tradition. Arturo Sandoval, thank you so much. It was a real honor and pleasure having you on the show today. But before we go,
only thing I must tell you that I can guarantee you 100% that when I open my mouth is to say what I really feel. and what I really mean. Otherwise, I don't open my mouth. I cannot BS people. I cannot. That's out of my picture, 100%. No, I cannot. I cannot. If I don't have nothing sincere to say, I say nothing. I say zero, nada.
Well, you've shared the words of truth today, and we're very, very grateful for it. But before we go, we have a tradition in the show, Arturo. We have our gentleman who comes on. Today it's going to be Rich. Rich has been with us for quite some time, and he's going to give us a joke, because I think it's very important to laugh. We can't forget laughter in all of this, right?
Charlie Chaplin always said, a day without laughing is a complete lost day.
I agree with Charlie. Okay, Rich, you're live. Go for it.
Thank you very much. Arturo, I want to thank you. My wife does not mind me doing the duets that we do. The other day I did, you put on Facebook every time we say goodbye. So that was our last duet together, and it was just wonderful. Also, one of my favorite pictures on my phone is the selfie you took of you and I when I gave you that pair of socks a couple of years ago in Vegas.
Oh, yes. And you sent me another one, too. Thank you so much.
I think you got 2 or 3 so far. That's good.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I love it. I love it.
That's great. The little story today is about a guy that I know by the name of Carl Herzog. Carl's out traveling around a little bit and walked into a bar, not the classiest bar of all, but it's one of those places where they got the menu up on the chalkboard. And the menu says hamburger, $3.99, cheeseburger, $4.99, chicken sandwich, $5.99, hand jobs, $19.99. He calls over the bartender, who's a gorgeous, gorgeous redhead, beautiful, voluptuous girl. And she says to him, "Okay, Carl, what will you have?" He says, Are you the one that gives the hand jobs?" She said, "Yes." He said, "Well, go wash your hands. I want a cheeseburger."
Oh my goodness! I hope it's no minor watching this.
No.
Thank you very much, Rich. That was fantastic. Thank you, sir. Okay, before we close the show, because today was exceptional, we've actually we've given everybody 50% extra for free. But before we close the show, I'd like the one and only El Papo del Humo to say a few words.
Wow, this has been, to me, one of the most touching shows, very emotional, because life is about memories. And I have so many beautiful memories and many more memories that I will live with Arturo. Arturo, like I said in the very beginning, is a hero of my life. He has been a very special and loyal friend, but he's also been a second father. And I say that because, like fathers, all fathers, responsible fathers, they will tell you what they have to say when they have to say it, and they won't hold anything back. And for that, Arturo, I'm grateful. And I'm also very grateful, Arturo, because I've always said that I was a humble cigar maker, but now people don't know me as Carlito. They don't know me as Fuente. They know me as a Papo del Humo, as Jeremiah just mentioned. And I think that's something that a lot of people are not aware where that word Papo came from. And it came from my brother, Papo, the real Papo, the king of Papo, the Papo of hearts, the Papo of melodies, and the Papo of feelings, Arturo Sandoval, who nicknamed me Papo because that's all he called me, Papo, Papo, Papo. And he's Papo, and everybody, there's so many Papos now. Arturo's had such a big influence in my life, everything that, you know, he's always been there to guide me, and I need guidance. I'm not, you know.
But you have to say the truth. But you have to say the truth. I've been a good influence and also bad influence.
I don't know what
that's going to be for another show, Arturo.
I don't think. Well, listen. I don't think there's never been a bad influence. And life is about memories, and those memories also are very important to have made me who I am today. So I don't know if that's bad. Bad is a matter of interpretation. I know exactly what you're talking about, but you know what? Yeah, no, listen. If anything, a bad influence, I'll tell you what he's referring to probably. Don't get scared, Arturo.
Now we're going to have to censor
I used to
the
play
show.
the trumpet when I was in elementary school. I started playing when I was 7 years old. You know, the school band, you got to pick an instrument and everything. I'm a terrible trumpet player. But bad influence in the sense that somehow he encouraged me. I got the Auburn book out that he gave me, started practicing.
A cigar maker, you did a great home, a great work. And it was much better than Clint Eastwood. When I gave the trumpet to Clint, and Clint said the same thing, and he played the trumpet when he was very young. Man, he sound a lot worse than you. A lot worse than you.
Arturo,
you know what? You know what he told me? He said, "Hey, be sure you don't post this. Don't share this with nobody, please. Don't do that."
You should have had the same consideration with me because I mean,
no. I posted because you sound great, man. You sound great for the cigar maker. Okay, they made that accurate.
Arturo, there's so many people listening. I know that most people, because they are big lovers of your career, they follow you, the music and everything. But I'm here in the Dominican Republic. I've been here for a long time. And the Dominican Republic is very special to me. And I said earlier that our lives is all about memories. If I have one last question to ask you, and memories, if you hear the word Dominican Republic, what comes to your mind? Give me a few words or something. What do you think about the Dominican Republic?
A beautiful country with the happiest and most grateful people I ever met in my life. I always said that, and not now. I said for many years since I came there the very first time. I never have ever had a better time in my life than when I go there. The people are so grateful to life, to God, to everything they got. The people sing all the time. They're laughing all the time. They're so friendly, so warm with the people who came from anywhere around the world. And they're considered by many the happiest people on earth. And they really spread that kind of love. You can feel right away that they really care about what they do. You see a lady with a broom, cleaning the floor. They're dancing, they're singing, they're so happy to do what they're doing. And the people in the restaurant, they're served, they're just a waiter or something. And they're so grateful that they got a job. And for example, a Cuban, if you see a Cuban in the restaurant serving food or something, he feels miserable. He want to be the owner of the restaurant, but he's not gonna be happy to be a simple waiter, And there's a difference of our mentality. I always said, if I have to move out of the U.S., because I have to be sincere and I have to tell you the truth, I'm extremely grateful, happy, and proud to live in the United States, the country who opened the arm for me and made me what we are nowadays, and gave me all those opportunities and raised my family. I give a decent life to my wife, my kids, my grandchildren, and I have a lot of things to be grateful to the U.S. But if I have to move out of here for any reason, I have only one place in mind: the beautiful Dominican Republic. And this is not BS. That's from my heart.
Arturo, Dominican Republic loves you, and every time you come, you bring so much love, and we're waiting for you.
I'm waiting for you to invite me again. I can't wait, man. Please, don't wait any longer.
El chicharrón te espera.
Man, I can't wait to get back there. I love it.
Well,
okay,
on those words, we're going to...
Professor, when I asked you how long this is going to be, you told me maximum going to be 1 hour. We're doing already 1 hour and 38 minutes. What What's going on here?
Well, what's
Arturo,
going on? We have Arturo Sandoval. That's what's going on.
Arturo, let me explain to you something. For us, it's an honor, it's a privilege, but also all you have achieved in your life, your tradition, your honesty, your love for the music, your love for cigars, but more than anything else, your friendship and the support that you have given the Fuente family, and you have made all over the world with your music, with your talent, so many people happy. So I know we went a little bit further, so you can blame Carlito on that one, not me and Jeremiah. But anyway, thanks for being on the show. It's been an honor. It's been a privilege. God bless you, Marianela, the grandkids, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much. You know what? My love and appreciation for our relation, my relation with the Fuente family is very deep in my heart. It's very deep in my heart. And I never forgot. One day I was with Don Carlos. I was there in the office in Tampa. And we came to a little, it's like a warehouse where they got all the shipment and sends of cigars and stuff. And then it was a gentleman there that I love very much, Marty Sorensen. And he talked to him and I said, Marty, listen to me. This is Arturo Sandoval. Be sure he never, ever run out of cigar. Wow.
Word. It's like the young generation says, word.
Word.
If we will live to my father's word.
Oh my goodness. And I was embarrassed because, oh, Carlos, why you said that to him? He said, no, I want to be sure he never forget to send you your stock. And I'm lucky because I don't have to buy my favorite cigar, man. And that's such a privilege. It's such a privilege and a convenience, you know, because especially now that I have no job.
All right. Well, on those words,
hey guys, bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the legend, Arturo Sandoval, thank you very much for being on the show with us today. It was an honor and a pleasure.
You did great.
Until next time, until next week, actually, next Sunday, same time, same place, Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and of others for the next episode of Fuente and Meerapfel present Meet the Professor. Bye-bye, everybody.
Gracias.
Quiero, Papo. God bless you all.
Thank you.